All right. Let's go ahead and get a link. Give me one sec here and we'll get started up. Oops. All right. All right, so let's jump right into it. This week, I'm going to continue to be focusing on different sectors of the
Here,
market.
get started up.
Sorry, let me stop this. All right, so this week I'm going to continue to focus on different sectors of the market that don't relate as much to tech. I'm trying to shift my focus to consumer stocks, and this week you'll see some real estate stocks in there, some energy stocks. As the market gets more and more extended, we want to shift our focus to other sectors other than tech. Tech is usually the first to really top out, and big money will be shifting into other sectors. So, with that being said, SPY is still in an uptrend, market's still in an uptrend. We can see trends are holding. So there's no reason we can't keep going higher, and tech can keep going higher. But I'm going to give you guys some really good plays that are just looking to get going this week. Okay, so let's get into it. First one I've got is PFE. This one is an okay setup. The reason I have it on my list is because of this inside bar zone break, and this broke up on Friday. So this has potential to push through this top trend line and reach these upper bounds. This is a weekly trend line here. There's a big gap to fill up here. This one definitely has potential. If it gets over and closes daily over this top trend line, watch out. Watch out. This thing will run up and probably fill this gap, come up to these trend lines, maybe even all the way up here. So this one's got potential to run. I'd be watching this top trend line for a daily close over. You can also play it off the retrace down to this zone. So if you want to get in at 39.40 here, that's another potential play. Sell some of the trend line, wait to see if it breaks. So PFE is looking good. Next we have CVS. This is my only potential short. It still doesn't look, it's not going to be a big short, but this would be a small short play based on an inside bar break once again. Here you can see the inside bar. Here's the zone, holding downtrend and broke and closed below. This one has a few gaps down here that it could look to come fill. I don't think it's going to get super far. So this is not one of my top picks, but this has potential to see a little bit of downside, whether we test this breakup candle low. Always keep in mind breakup candles, breakdown candles, those are always important. So we might come down and test this low, maybe even fill the gap. Watch CVS on the short side. Next, LEN. This is one of my favorites. LEN. We have a very nice bullish pullback here. If you remember last week, I had a lot of bullish pullbacks on the list that are breaking out, and this one I've been waiting on. It's been rejecting, and boom. Look at that nice breakup candle that finishes at the highs. And it was on a market day where most of the market was down. So I'm definitely looking at LEN on a retrace back to this trend line, back to this resistance zone here. And I mean, this thing can really go, guys. This one looks good for a short-term swing, even a medium-term swing. We can see this stock is a stock that goes up, right? It typically goes up. And these are the kind of stocks you want to focus on when you're looking long, is stocks that have a history of being profitable, that they have a history of going up, right? That means it's more likely that people are going to buy it. So yeah, I mean, this is looking really good. We can see that there was a big zone here that we couldn't get over, right? And we finally did, and boom, it's a perfect retest and break. This is definitely one of my top picks. There's a gap right up here that's unfilled at about 64. That thing can run up to 64 real quick next week. I will 100% be playing LEM. Okay. Next on my list, TSN, Tyson Foods. Continuing with the consumer trend, Tyson has an interesting pattern. The one thing I do not like on Tyson is the rejection candle right here. Really, we're not out of the woods until we can get over that, but I do like the multiple trend break. I like the volume. I like finishing near the highs. It's a solid breakup candle. So on this, I'd really be looking for follow through on Monday, and I'm looking to get up to these highs right here. Okay, if we can get up to these highs, we may reject, but that could be a nice little day trade on Monday. If we can start closing above this 93, 93.5 area, that looks good to potentially make new highs. I believe new highs, yes. And again, we have another company that likes to go up, right? And so whether this continues for a long time or it's a nice day trade on Monday, there's definitely some upside to be had for Tyson. Okay. Next is AMT, American Tower Corp. This one had a trend break. Look at that follow through. Very, very nice. And it stalled out for a bit. And I want you guys to note this resistance level up here that we've really been struggling with. And boom, we close over that resistance level. I'm just now seeing a potential. So here we go. Here's a good top to look for in AMT, right? That's a solid $5 of upside on a $230 stock. Nice 2% move that we could be looking for on Monday and Tuesday. That's going to line up right around this breakdown area as well. So yeah, AMT looking really, really good. Maybe it's even going to come challenge these highs off of this. We'll have to wait and see. But absolutely $5 of upside in AMT, and support will now be the broken level at 230. Okay, big psychological level, big round numbers. So now that we've gotten past 230, there will most likely be buyers that show up at that level. EQR, this one's going to be a real estate stock. I've noticed that some real estate stocks are starting to do well. We've been on a little short-term downtrend in real estate, and this one is looking pretty good. Real estate was very green on Friday, and we had a few breakouts. And so this is the first one I'm watching, EQR. This one, it looks okay. It looks okay. It did get a trend break, which I like. We are still inside this inside bar, though. So what I would like to see on EQR is a daily close above that zone. That would put us in the clear to come and retest this 83.44. You can see reaction there, reaction there, reaction there. Very good, very strong level there. Maybe we come up and test this breakdown area on an overshoot. So be watching that. Be watching real estate. VLO is the other, I believe. I don't know if this was real estate. Anyways, VLO, Valero Energy. Now this was an energy company. Sorry, Valero Energy. Before I go over this, let's look at energy. Let's look at the XLE, the index for energy. And I want you guys to see energy looks incredible right now. Energy has been on a long downtrend. Long downtrend, right? 2014 type downtrend. It's been a long time coming for XLE. And we have this very strong level around the 50 mark, right? Another psychological round number, always going to be important. And it's very interesting. XLE, it looks like it's trying to bottom here. We have a trend break. And if you look here, we have a nice reversal candle off of the trend break. We're holding the uptrend line. So as long as we're holding this, I'm really looking for energy to pick up in the next couple weeks, maybe even months to years. We'll have to see when that time comes. I'll keep you guys updated on that. But yeah, VLO is one of these companies. Looks amazing, right? This is one of the stronger stocks in the index, and this is a nice bullish pullback back to where? Back to this resistance level, right? That we couldn't get through for many months, up to it's like a year, right? We've now broken it. Nice bullish pullback and trend break. That's what we look for. We did already get some follow through, but I don't think this thing's anywhere near done. So VLO, a good entry would be maybe back on a gap fill. There's a small unfilled gap right there, right on that day. Didn't quite fill it. So on a pullback to that gap, that could provide a very good entry. Maybe just to that Friday low could also be a good entry. Maybe it'll come all the way back to the trend line. You can look to size into that position. But I really like VLO to come back, and there's another unfilled gap up here, along with very obviously tough area for VLO. So I'm looking for a retest of those levels. And honestly, most likely a break. It may take a long time. This thing likes to move pretty slow and consolidate and then break out. So this one could also just be a shorter term play up to that level and then look for another setup. But I really expect this to go pretty far, especially if energy keeps doing well. Next is HSY. This is another consumer stock, Hershey's. This is probably, along with LEN, my favorite setup. This one looks absolutely incredible. What did we have here? We had a really nice bullish pullback once again, right? We have a nice channel there, nice little falling wedge type thing. This line broke, but look at now, right? We had an inside bar, we had a big breakdown candle, so we marked that as a zone. Whenever price closes over or below that zone, typically there will be continuation. So look, in this one, we're mixing a long-term trend break, we're mixing an inside bar break, and we're mixing this trend line being recaptured, right? We got back above it. This one looks absolutely amazing. And I mean, as again, we look for stocks that go up, right? Hershey's is no exception. This stock is nonstop going up. This is a good company. Had a long resistance here, finally broke. Maybe it comes lower in the next year or two, who knows? But for right now, I'm expecting at least a couple gap fills here. We've got a breakdown candle here. This thing can really go. This one would be good for a long-term swing, in my opinion, as well, just given the amount of level breaks that we've had on this Friday. So again, I'd be looking for this one to pull back maybe a little bit here, hold these trend lines, the top of the box, and look to take off on HSY. Okay. Almost done here. CLX, Clorox. This one can be a slow mover as well. This would also be more in the swing category, maybe a day trade on Monday. But this is just a consolidation break. If we go closely, you can see when we ran up here on this day and stopped. That's the level I look at. I always want to see when a stock initially runs up, where does it stop on the first day, and that's where the top of my zone is. As long as we don't close above that, look at all those tests, and boom, we close at 153.67. The high here is 153.64. So we've closed above by 3 cents. Okay, so it's not the best setup in the world. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's not incredible, but nevertheless, I see a retest of this 156 level at minimum on Clorox. That is, if we can hold above the top of this zone. So this one could have a really nice day on Monday. It could provide a day trade. This one, its big days are just a little bit scarce, right? You can see most days are consolidation, and it has those days where it just goes. So maybe Monday is one of those days. I don't know if other people are looking at this level like I am, but we'll have to wait and see. Watch for breaks of pre-market highs in the morning on Monday, and this could potentially have a nice green day. Lastly, one more in the energy sector, XOM. XOM. Sorry, this chart's kind of a mess, but essentially we had the same look as XLE on this chart. Same look as XLE. This one also had a very long-term trend break right here, right? And we can see we're retesting and we're also holding the lower trend line. So if XLE is going to start going the next week or two, we're looking for XOM to go with it. Chart looks very similar. It's a bit of a mess. It's a messy chart. But this will go with XLE. It trades pretty close to XLE. So XOM is another one. This one, you're going to want to look to get in. Basically where price is at, close to these trend lines, and ride this up to this upper trend line here. Maybe we'll even break that, fill a gap, come up here. Long term, that could happen. It's a little too soon to tell at the moment, but yeah, XOM. And lastly, I want to give you the sector to watch this week, which is the XLF. Earnings this week consist of mostly financial companies. Goldman Sachs, Chase, Wells Fargo. There's a few other banks, I believe. So the XLF has been fighting. These upper levels are the all-time highs. This top level is the all-time high. We barely broke that, came back down.